What's going on, guys? Time for the weekly shop update, which as of right now looks like it's going to be going out early Saturday morning. Spent a little bit of time out in the shop this week, continuing the cleanup and organization process, which I am starting to see some progress on. I've actually made enough progress, in fact, that I took some time out as well this week to work on a couple of needed shop projects. Both of which I actually had the camera running for. One I actually filmed from start to finish. Ended up at about 40 minutes worth of video. I'm still debating. I don't think I want to quite upload a 40-minute video, especially for something so simple, which I'll show you the product of here in a minute. Don't think I want to quite upload 40 minutes worth of video for something like that. At the same time, I'm not sure if I really have the time or gumption, if you will, for editing that down to 15 or 20 minutes. So I'm going to think about that. You guys can comment below if you think it's something you want to see. But basically, it's just a video of me modifying a roller stand that I bought from Harbor Freight. And actually, I'll go ahead and show you right now. These went on sale recently at a price that was a little too good to pass up. These are the telescoping roller stands. You know, they're cheap, but they seem pretty decently made and designed. There's a couple things that could certainly be better on them, but they're about 15 bucks each is what I paid for them, which pretty hard to beat if I can get any use at all out of them. And I bought 3 of them. 2 of them I want to use as outfeed support for my table saw at the very least. They can also be used for my milling machine, even for, you know, other projects around the shop if I need some outer support. You know, my chop saw. You know, even over at a drill press, you know, sometimes you've got to drill the end of something that's much longer than your table is wide. And they just end up being handy for all kinds of things. So, like I said, I bought 3 of them, one of which I had intentions of using on my horizontal bandsaw over here, which unfortunately ended up being much lower to the ground than I thought. These roller stands have a working height of, you know, I think it's something like 27 inches up to about 42 or so inches. And if I'm remembering right, that horizontal bandsaw table is only about 20 to 20 and a half inches off the ground. So what I needed to do, and you know what the video was of, was me cutting that down to a much more suitable height. And this is what I came up with. You know, I just cut 6 inches off of each leg, drilled out for these little mounting clamps here, which is how these feet mount. They've got a little socket head cap screw there that go through to a little drilled and tapped piece of round stock that goes through this hole here and just kind of ties everything together. So took 6 inches off, you know, radius to match the base foot there, or leg, and that was pretty much it. Again, it took 40 minutes, you know, given that I was trying to set the camera up for shots and kind of think about what I was doing on the fly. But you know, it came out, it works well, and far better than what I had previously made as an outfeed support for that saw, which was just some scrap tube and a little piece of angle iron for the support table there. I just made this the same height as the saw. It's not adjustable at all. It works, but it could be better, and you know, a roller stand that I can adjust the height on even is definitely going to be a much better option going forward. So that was one project. The other project I did, we'll step over here. The other project was I needed a new part for my table saw. And what this is one half of the motor mounting assembly. There's a couple of pieces of round bar that clamp onto the table saw on the back side. This kind of slides onto that like so, hangs vertically. And then the motor and the plate that it's mounted to actually hinge from the bottom like so. There's a little compression spring that goes in there just to provide some dampening and keep it from, you know, climbing up the belt and slamming into itself. And, you know, there's also a little milled slot that, you know, bolts in from this side on the other piece. I could show you a little bit of it here in a moment, although it's kind of crowded and dark over there. But the problem with this one is that it was severely twisted, which if you line up these two edges, this one and this one, you can kind of see it still has a little bit of twist in it. I flattened a lot of it out, so it was actually much worse than this. But the biggest problem was there's a crack running all the way through the sidewall and about halfway across the part. This is just cast aluminum. You know, it's a little flimsy, I guess, for what it needs to do. And it was twisted, it was cracked. It's just a matter of time before that crack went all the way through and the motor fell off. So I guess I had a couple of options there. One was to maybe try to weld or braze this back closed. You know, if this wasn't twisted as bad as it was, I might have tried to do that. Maybe got some aluminized brazing rod and see if I could maybe fill that crack up and get by with it. You know, I'm really not set up for aluminum. I'm not sure how cast aluminum would even fare, you know, as far as that kind of a repair. It might have made it even worse or just prolonged the inevitable. So I kind of wrote that off as an option pretty quick. The next option would have been to just buy, you know, a replacement part for this. A lot of times you can find the manual with an exploded diagram and a part number and order from some kind of part supplier or even the manufacturer site itself. I tried that option. For one, they don't make the part anymore, although I was able to find one old stock part of this online. I think it was new old stock. They wanted like over $100 for it though, and I just couldn't see paying that much for a little flimsy part that might even just as well break again, for all I know. And I don't think I gave more than $100 or so for the saw to begin with. So that left me with kind of my final option was to try to make the part myself. So ended up getting a piece of aluminum extrusion that was as thick as the thickest part on this piece, which maybe in hindsight wasn't completely necessary, but I figured it wouldn't hurt anything. So I got some 1 1/4 thick aluminum that was big enough to kind of encapsulate this dimension here. Basically machined away, you know, the rough outline of this. Although I didn't do like every little feature, you know, just what was necessary. And what that left me with was a much thicker, much stouter piece that's going to last and do what it needs to do much better than that piece. And I'll go ahead and show you. You know, now it's all back together. Again, it's a little dark over here, but there's the part. I got the set screws there. They go through to the mounting rods. And, you know, this bolts in from the side there. Everything works great. It's pretty much as good, if not better than new, and certainly took care of the problem. You know, all for possibly less than that part may have originally cost from Craftsman. And now I've got a much better part that I made myself. So, you know, what good is having a little machine shop here if I can't use it to fix some other tools and machines from time to time. So that was basically my week. Again, I filmed a little bit about that, you know, as far as talking about the philosophy of, you know, approaching a problem like that, you know, different options you have to fix something like that, and so on and so forth. And then I kind of showed some before and afters and how I laid it out. That said, it ended up being about 20 some odd minutes of video that really amounted to little more than just me talking and showing the same couple of pieces over and over again. So that one I think I'm going to scrap for sure. The 40 minutes of video on modifying the roller stand, I may still edit or even post in its entirety. You guys can let me know what you think about that. But other than that, and doing a little bit more cleanup and organizing, you know, filling the shelves that I put up, that pretty much comprised my whole week. So I've got a little bit of shelf space left over there, and I could probably even consolidate a little more of what's over there. And then these three I've still got basically left to fill. But I am making progress. You know, I can actually see a lot of my workbenches now. The top of my CNC, for the most part, is cleaned off. Different tools are getting cleaner and cleaner by the day. So I'm definitely making progress, and have basically decided that I'm going to kind of have to reform some habits on how I do things out here. Number one being just doing a little bit more cleanup as I go, and even dedicating maybe the last half hour of each day to, you know, just buckling in and cleaning up after myself. You know, this whole doing a project and wait until the end of it to clean up, or, you know, not cleaning up at all, that's got to stop, because it just starts getting out of hand way too fast, and things just start devolving from there. It becomes much harder to get any work done. And, you know, spending a little bit of time at the end of the day, you know, even though nobody likes to clean, and sometimes it takes more than 10 minutes or 20 minutes, but, you know, it needs to be done. It's better than, you know, wait until it looks like a bomb went off to where you can't even find anything or get anywhere without tripping over something. I can't do that anymore. And I know I kind of get to this point at least a couple of times every year, but, you know, I've gotten to the point where I have more tools and more stuff in the shop than I ever have. It's just getting worse than it's ever been. So hopefully I can kind of form some new habits. Again, maybe try to continue to improve the layout and the overall organization of the shop. And, you know, maybe we can kind of move forward and onward. So that's it, guys. Gonna try to keep this one maybe a little bit shorter than previous updates. Again, I appreciate everybody who follows me on these. If you've made it to the end, thank you. And welcome to any new subscribers that have found their way to the channel. Looks like that number is growing slowly but surely. So welcome to all, and you know, thanks for following me along this crazy channel and shop of mine. So we'll see you on the next one, guys. Thanks for watching.